Hi, everybody. It is Sunday. Oh, I should. Um, it just popped into my mind. There's a channel that I just subscribed to. I think it's called Repent. Um, but don't quote me on that. Um, but anyway, it's got some good videos here lately. Um, it shows, well, I'm just looking at I-5 going north, and the traffic is really super slow. That's odd on Sunday. It's usually Friday afternoon it gets like that. And on Sunday, the traffic is slow going south to north. But now it's going slow north on a Sunday. It's just so odd. Um, and the girl at the cross coffee shop today, I mean, I've known her for a good year now, seen her every day, and she goes, "Oh," so she tells me today, she goes, "Oh, well, I got my glasses on." She goes, "Oh," I'm looking right into the camera too. "Oh, I got my glasses." um, so she looks at me today, had my coffee, and she goes, "Oh, I love your beard." I go, "What?" She goes, "I love your beard. When did you start growing it out?" I just seen her a couple of days ago. And plus, I've always had a beard. Always had a beard for many years now. And I looked at her and I go, "What?" She goes, When did you start getting the beard?" I said, "Girl, I've always had a beard. What are you talking about?" She goes, "No, you haven't." I go, "Yes, I have." She goes, "No, you haven't." I was like, "Oh my gosh, this must be one of those Mandela effects or something. Like the timeline's crossing or something." Interesting, right? And then yesterday, um, well, you know what happened yesterday when they mocked God. The wrong thing to do. I mean, you think after all this time of history that we would learn, right? I mean, but they're never going to learn. But there's that saying that we're supposed to be thinking, in no judgment, so we can't have karma on us, and nothing's going to hold us back or anything. So we've got to look at this as an observation. As much as it does bother us that why are you mocking him, but we already know why they're mocking him, because it's even written that they will mock him in the last days. And so that's what they did, right? But I think it's just hurtful for the people to see, which I kind of know. I sense it myself. And then driving over here to the park. I'm at the park because the children are outside, and they're on the steps doing their thing, having fun. So I was just like, I can get out of the house for a while and get away from the internet, that kind of like thing as well. And on my way here, remember the vision I told you about on October 19th, 2020, when I was at, um, well, actually, I only told you part of it. A long time ago, I told you the full thing. The whole vision that started out is where I was walking. It was like, you remember the Men in Black? The rooms are all white. Everything is bright white. Even the chairs bright white. Well, it's like I was walking down this bright white hallway, and I opened up this one door, and in this bed was a high school friend of mine. Well, an acquaintance, I should say. We never hung out. We did a couple of times, but we weren't like best friends. I think our mothers were. That's what, if I remember correctly, my mother was friends with his mother. Um, here and there, whatever, worked with, or whatever, and so he was in that bedroom, and I remember walking in, and I walked in, and I told him, I said, come on, let's go. He's here. And so Lance has their white sheets. Everything is white. The bed's white. Everything is white. All you can see is his body, right? And so anyway, he's like got the sheets up to here to his neck, and I went over and I remember taking the sheet from him and I pulled it off of him down to his feet, right? I was like, come on, let's go. And when I did, between his legs and on the sides of his legs and in between his legs on both sides of it, there was like rolls of money, big rolls of money. And I think there might have been gold bars and then coins and stuff like that lined up in between his legs. And I told him, I go, you can't have that. This is what I told him too. I was just like, what are you doing? You can't have that. And so I took the cover and I threw it back over him. I was just like, that kind of like thing. And so I walked out the door, which he wasn't going to get up and go anyway. So I walked out the door, and as soon as I closed that door, I went into the next room. And in the next room was my brother in one bed. Again, everything's white except for them. And then, which is Lance's best friend now. Her name's Belinda. I forgot her last name. But my older brother, Bill. But the interesting thing about it is all three of them were in the class above me, the high school class above me. Bill. William is his name. So you got William, Belinda, and Lance. And I was like, come on, you guys, let's go. And they both had their heads covered and they didn't want to go. So, again, I was saying, he's here. And again, I closed the door and I went around the corner. And then when I went around this corner of the hallway, I was coming into this like opened room, really huge open room. And as soon as I come to the entrance of it, the opening of it, to the corner of my left corner coming up to me was Prince Michael and Archangel Gabriel. It's just like they were floating to me. It was so cool. And I remember turning and looking to him, and I go, does God want to talk to me? And Prince Michael said, yes. I said, what about? And Archangel Gabriel goes, I'll show him. I remember that. And so quickly I watch him, and it's like I don't know if he hovered over there or flew over there, but he was so quickly, went from behind Prince Michael and went across the room over into another room. So I'm looking at this other room, and in that other room, you can see all these like flat screen TVs lined up all the way across the room. And he's going up to the first one and he's flipping on these screens and images are coming up. Well, then it's kind of like I blacked out. It's like in seconds, it seemed like. And the next thing you know, I'm awake, I'm back. I'm right in the back end of the dream. It's so interesting. It's like something had happened, which I think it was because I seen God, right? And I went down or something like that. But anyway, when I woke up, we're in front of those screens on this big circular hover platform. God was sitting behind me in a chair, and his left leg was along, my left leg was along his left leg. His right leg, I didn't see because I think it was moved up. Prince Michael was standing on this side of God with the open black book. And then Archangel Gabriel was at the end of all the screens. And so when I come to, looking around, I'm just like, oh, so I'm next to God. I'm between his legs, right? And I'm putting my foot right up next to his foot. And I'm, looking at the size difference. And I'm looking at his brass feet. And I'm like, oh, he does have brass feet. And I'm looking at his sandals. He's got like those Roman sandals with the lace that goes up the leg. And I'm looking up the leg. I remember going, he's got amazing looking feet. They're pretty feet. I said pretty feet at the time. I said, he's got pretty feet. And so I was going to reach down like this to touch his feet. And I'm like, oh, he's right behind me. He can hear my thoughts. And then that's when he picked me up from the backside of my rib cage and stood me up. And I was like, and next thing you know, those screens are right in my face, right? And I'm looking at the first one, and I'm like, at first I was trying to focus in on it for some reason, and I looked at it because I thought it was a fruit basket, and it wasn't a fruit basket. It was the periodic table of elements. You'll see them online. They're very colorful. And then the next screen, we kind of like hovered over to the next screen. I'm looking at it, and I turned and looked at Prince Michael and go, oh, someone's doing the same notes as me. So we go over to the third screen, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, these are my notes. This is my handwriting. I turn back at Prince Michael. These are my notes. This is my handwriting. And so we went through a couple more screens, and then we got to the last screen. And the last screen, it was kind of dark. And it was like, when I look at and flash back on it, it was like I was actually looking into the screen, like I was going into the screen itself to look. And I can't quite remember what I was looking at, because I remember once I looked into the screen, I looked back at Prince Michael, and I looked into the screen again. And when I went to turn to look back at him again, because I was confused about something, and when I turned to look back at him again, because something tells me in my mind's eyes, I was looking down on Earth. I was looking down on Earth because it was blue. And when I turned to look back, that's when God pulled me into him. And I just it was so interesting because, I'm laying on the couch, having this vision. And it was like my whole body just went, just totally give out, totally weak. I had no strength. I didn't want to move. And next thing you know, I was just so in love. And then he touched me. I think he touched me on my lips, and I just lit up like this golden light bulb. It was like I was inside my physical shell, my body, and all I seen was golden light everywhere. And this golden light was so amazing because it was affecting my my sensitivity. Talking about everything, sensitivity, the arousement, the juices, that kind of thing. Because afterwards, I remember going, oh, because I wasn't hard or anything like that. I was just so excited and so in love. And then this golden light, it was like this energetic shock kind of like thing to the body, but I was enjoying it. I didn't want to leave. And then I hear the second plane. I'll meet you on the second plane. And then that's when the golden light went away, and I woke up from the vision. And I was even trying to get back into it, but it was, that was it. And of course, I reached out. I was like, oh, I didn't even feel anything down there for that to happen. That's what was so energetic. I was feeling it all up here in my heart and my head and my chest. That's where it was at. And that's why it was kind of interesting that happened, right? And, but I think I understand it now. I think it has to do with something about our electrical system. But, so I'll meet you on the second plane. And I've been thinking for years, trying to figure out what the second plane is. And then I was like thinking, I'll meet you in the heavens. I'll meet you in the sky, right? Which that's a perspective of looking at it. But then on my way here, I was like thinking, I wonder if the second plane is the other timeline. I'll meet you on the second plane, since there's two timelines. And if the two timelines are like a plane, so they got one timeline up here, up here or whatever. They're both going, probably a timeline and a timeline going side by side. So, and they're getting close, and that's why I was like thinking, well, she didn't even realize that I've had a goatee this whole time or a beard. She goes, things like that, or when people, um, let's see, I don't know if I can give another example right off the bat, but here's another example. Um, Also, when I go into the shop, especially the coffee shop, I get a lot there. Is the employees? One of the employees will say, "Oh, you're back again," and I'm like, "No, this is my first time being here today." "No, you were here earlier." "No, I wasn't." And then they'll ask everybody else in the shop, "Wasn't he just here earlier?" And they're like, "Yes, you were just here." "We know if you were here, Casey. You don't even remember if you were here." And I'm like, "But I wasn't here." So it's so interesting. That's just another example. And, then I get this, well, you must have a twin or somebody that looks like you and drives the same vehicle as you. And I'm just like, oh, I've heard that before. And that's why, I say I've heard that before, is because now I understand it's probably another timeline intermingling, but I don't know how that happens. It's like they say it like crosses over. Well, if you do a crossover, that's, the X is like the symbol of the X. It's a crossing or a crossover. Um, but anyway, going back to this guy's channel on Repent, he shows this cartoon, I guess, that they have about the end times or whatever like that, and it shows this old man on a train, and he's got this golden ticket, and he opens it up, and it shows Moon Day, Moonday, right? And it shows this half moon happening at this time of our reality. And at the bottom of the page, it has a mother and a child. At the top of the other page, it has like this dragon thing, which they're saying right now, the mother and the child, that kind of symbolism. But my whole thing is that it had a golden ticket, a train ticket, and it said right on the ticket, a train ticket, a golden train ticket. Now, there's something about the golden ticket. Even that Christmas movie of the polar, there's the children that kind of get abandoned and left behind, or no one really pays attention to. And you've got all different types of children on you. You got the ones that need attention. You got the ones that are really super shy. You've got all different types of children out there. Um, hmm. But if we look at those children, as in this movie clip, where they're adults, right? Because we're all children, no matter our size, of the Creator. And then I got to thinking about mother and child, which I'm not changing anything of the biblical, talk about it. But if the male body is in the image of God, and then woman is created out of man, so she'd be in the image of man. Now, when we look at the XY chromosome, so X being on my left, my female side, and on my right would be my male side, the Y chromosome. Now, I was looking at that. If we look at the left side of our body as the mother, the X, so mother, and then father, a Y chromosome, because father's got the Y chromosome, is male. Um, and then Israel goes right down the center of us. Oh, wow, that was seriously sensitive. Whoa. Um, so, whoa. So I keep saying whoa because when I touched it like that, I had this whole feeling go down the center of me. So the child is born, right? The child is right here. So you'd have the mother and the father holding the child in the middle, right? Israel. if we look at it from a gene level, and remember the Y is the water gene, the X is the fire chromosome gene. And then I had this was come to my mind too. If we look at Queen Elizabeth, the mother, and then you have the child, which was Charles. So mother and child were pretty much reigning the land. So that got me thinking too. No one talks about that. No one sees it. And then you see Charles now, who's the king of lands, but you've also got the dark on the land and you've got the light. So the dark mimics the light. So it's like there's two playing out. There's two timelines, two levels. But isn't that interesting when you look at the royal family? You had mother and son, and in control of the land for a very long time. And then if you look at biblical times, they call it the Black Madonna, I think. The Black Madonna is a mother and child, and I think it's over in France or something like that. They have a cathedral, but it shows, and then you have, if you look at that, and mother and child, then look at Isis and her child, I think Osiris. So you have Isis and Osiris, mother and child, and then you have Christianity, Queen Mother Mary and King Jesus or Lord Jesus sitting on his lap, right, on her lap. So it's like in all these different religions, or perhaps in different races, perhaps. And that's why people are saying that Jesus is black, Jesus is this, Jesus is that. They're so worried because this world is hooked on color. It's hooked on race. It's hooked on instead of who cares what color God is or whatever. We know that we're supposed to be looking at things and praising him no matter who he or what color he is. And we got to stop making God in the image of our own, how we want God to appear. That's the biggest thing, And then I think it's in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, it's even explains that Daniel tells the people what God looks like. He's got eyes of coal. He's got a face of lightning. He's got, I think it's a body or the torso. I think it's iron or beryl. His arms and his legs and feet are of fine brass. So it's so interesting when we look today at how people are trying to create their own image of God, their own statues, their own crosses that they wear. Remember, not to make anything or worship anything or bow down to anything that doesn't have God's breath in it. And, don't make any images of the land, the heavens, the sea, or anything. So again, people wearing crosses, people bowing down to statues, people building these churches, worshiping in them. Remember, bow your head in prayer. So bowing your head, you're bowing down to Hades, and praying to Hades, and then you're lifting your head up and singing praise to God. So again, it's such a trickery of the world stage if we just don't force ourselves to step back and learn and look, and stop being followers of other people. That must be it. Stop being followers of other people and actually read what's in the scripture. Actually read what's or solve the parables. Read and solve the parables. This guy's going by. He's got 2 American flags and a yellow flag and a red flag. Big ones hanging off the back of his truck. There's a lot of people with their flags and symbolism here lately. Of course, we just had the 4th of July. And again, this is where we've got to, it's such a challenge, right? Well, we can't be part of the world. We can't be a byproduct of the world. We can be in the world, but do not be a product of the world, right? So we've got to separate ourselves. We can't be followers. Even though on YouTube, to subscribe to somebody, it's like you have, or I think it's subscribe. Um, but I think Facebook, it's about following, right? Follow this person, follow. Again, and then of course, I don't follow a lot of people. Just because when people look at my channel, they go, "Oh, I thought you had a lot of friends and stuff." Well, there was a time when I started coming out talking about all this stuff that I think it was within a week, 30 people left off my channel right away. And I was like, oh. So, no one was liking what I was saying. No one was getting what I was saying. And that's what it was. And no one asked or wanted to know. So, and that's okay, because I see from a perspective to where, all this stuff that's happening is to get people to think, get them to wake up and see if they've been tricked or fooled. My friend put out a post with all these images that people have drawn about Trump. They showed Trump on a cross with the spear going on the side, and he's like, how come he's not getting, how come God doesn't hold him accountable for mocking God? And I put on the reply on there. It's like, because Trump didn't create it, Trump didn't do it, but I'm sure the person who did do it is probably going to go through judgment of it. So again, what we do, our own actions create, our own judgment. So no matter what somebody else does out there to create an idolized Trump, it's their judgment. It's not going to be on him. So what's going to be on him is the things that he's done, right? His trickery, I should say. And then you've got the other team, their trickery. So, but I have a feeling that at the top of the pyramid, this big pyramid they have, because look at IPEC 3. I have a feeling that the person at the top of this pyramid is going to be taken out, and it's going to be replaced. Remember, you've got to start at the top and work your way down. You can't work your way up correcting everything, because it's always going to be corrupted at the top. So you take out the top and everything else falls. Have a great day. Happy Sunday.